Right, we're back for the third and final round of this Scars of Mirrodin flashback draft, and we'll see what we have to work with. Not bad, not the greatest hand, but the Copper Carapace is a serious threat in the Infect deck, and we do have 3 Infect creatures. Hopefully we get in for some Infect at some point to turn on the Viridian Betrayers. So we'll definitely keep this hand. Pretty big upgrade between going 0 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 in these drafts. 1 and 2 is a single pack of Mirrodin Besieged, which is the least desirable of the 3. And then 2 and 1 is a pack of Scars and a pack of Euphyrexia. So we're really hoping we can eke out a win in round 3 here and get the 2 better packs. I don't always play Swiss, but when I do, it's a format that I'm not particularly comfortable with, and that this fits that description. Like I do remember some of the archetypes. I kind of actually forgot about Metalcraft, and that might have been open to me. I remember seeing a lot of like cheap cantrip artifacts and stuff. Not to mention the reasonable artifact creatures. So white-red Metalcraft could have been an option. Alright, so this is good. It definitely turns on our Viridian Betrayers. There's obviously a couple different poison infect, I should say. I keep saying poison, same difference, but a couple different infect archetypes. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to kill this guy. I don't think he would have blocked there. But I don't mind playing because we have so many threats in our hand, and we still need a land to make them real dangerous, but because we have so many threats, I don't mind just playing this attrition game with him already at 3 counters, and I might just end up, yeah, we're just going to do this. This is not a great block for him, but it's not a great creature to let through either. So I can give him a poison counter directly. I have a haste guy. We'll see what he has. He could have like a first strike pump spell or something that just kills this. This gives us some options. I think I make him just keep blocking here though. I didn't really want to lose that. Artifact, but it's okay. Copper Carapace was a big part of our plan. We're winning any kind of race, really. We'll see if our opponent has another creature drop. He doesn't, which means we can present lethal with just these guys and Tainted Strike. I didn't want to cast the Tainted Strike there just because I was afraid of a trick and getting blown out, and our opponent can't kill us, so the Eco Rat should be lethal. He's not blue, he doesn't have a counter spell. So our poison got there. That was a pretty aggressive hand. We don't, because our 3-drops are really where our curve starts anyway. We have a couple. Well, we have a 1-drop. You know, if you look at our curve, we're not really putting poison pressure on early. Vector Ass maybe gets in there. Flestermite Baby gets in there. You can't ask for a much better hand than we had in that game, though, with the Copper Carapace and then both Eco Rats, Vernie Betrayers, and the Haste Infect guy. So I'm just going to take a look back and see what creatures our opponent played. I keep forgetting to look for artifact creatures just to see how reasonable it is that this invasion is going to help us. Our opponent's deck does seem a little slow. You know, almost every deck has some artifact creatures, but he didn't seem to be like a Metalcraft deck or anything. So I think that Ruthless Invasion might be an upgrade over Lead the Stampede here. It seems like the kind of matchup where this could just get us a free win. When he thinks he has blockers back and we can get through for a couple poison counters pretty easily. So we'll give us a try. It could be a little bit harder to win on the draw since our deck is so slow. Having the not great curve that we do, it hurts no matter what, but it becomes especially apparent when you're on draw and you're not really presenting a threat until turn 4. Ooh. I think this is a bad enough hand to mulligan. Our first drop being a 2-1, in fact, it could very easily be outclassed. Yeah, this isn't much better, but we'll take this at least. At least this gives us a chance to get in there for some poison damage. Maybe before he has a blocker. Yeah. So drawing 2 lands in a row after that start is pretty bad. But we have a reasonable mid-range threat, so it all just depends on what we draw. You know, if we get our 4/5 infect guy on turn 4, we'll still be feeling okay. So it's odd, you know, we saw the 1 Cyst Bearer, and I thought maybe our opponent was on some kind of infect plan. But he doesn't seem to be, which means if he wants to attack with the Cyst Bearer, I don't mind just taking the 2 poison. I think we can outrace him if he's on a poison plan. So we got an artifact creature. Making our Ruthless Invasion a little bit worse if we get to that. Dismember is a nice draw, but I'm not in a hurry to use it, knowing he has even bigger creatures than this Peace Strider. Yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. I don't think I'm going to kill. I don't think I get that aggressive here with no threats. I think I'm playing defense, hoping that I draw something that's going to do work for me. So now depending on what he does this turn, next turn I'll think about using Go for the Throat on the Sith Bear to try to start racing with Infect. Opponent's played a lot of lands, he might just be flooded. Alright, our opponent does have... He's 1 mana away from being able to do some serious damage to our creatures. So basically he'll be able to kill a creature every turn once he gets that last mana. Alright, that's unfortunate. Even though we're losing this race, I think I still keep racing just because of the Tower of Calamities. Like, if he just kills this guy, I mean, what am I going to do? He didn't play land yet. So he got the Trigon of Infestation. We would have liked to have had that card. We're going to keep racing. Our opponent can take a chunk out of this. You know, this isn't great either way. Because now my guy can't block. So, yeah, and I think this game is pretty much over. I'm mainly at this point hoping for, like, something that gets me back in this race. Yeah. So our opponent was holding that stuff back. It's a little odd. So we play this guy as a blocker. Um, and we're just dead. Team Strike does nothing for us. Swamp does nothing. Alright, so on to game 3. Our opponent does have a lot of artifact creatures. We saw 3 that game. I'm not sure. I just don't know about this Ruthless Invasion. Versus Lead the Stampede versus Psychic Miasma. We don't have any artifact destruction, which would be nice. That's something I'm going to have to keep in mind for next time I draft this, if I get another draft in while this is live. Artifact removal, I think in every matchup I would have not minded having it, especially if it was in the form of the green artifact creature. You get a creature and artifact removal. Ruthless Invasion. I still think this could steal us a win. I don't think this is going to steal us a win. This has been just okay when we've cast it, and Psychic Miasma I don't think does anything. So I think we stick with the plan. We hope for a slightly more aggressive draw again. Ooh. This isn't the worst hand, but not having, I like Blight Widow a lot, and I like Go for the Throat, but I don't know if I'm winning a long game. I keep this and hope to draw a Forest, which might or might not happen. I don't really care. I mean, this needs 2 to cast. Like, getting a Forest by turn 4 would be nice. I don't really care if I play this on turn 2 or not. But I do want to be able to cast this on turn 4. Yeah, I'm not going to mulligan, but it might be a bad decision. If I didn't have to go for the throat, this would be an easy mulligan. It's not the game plan that I want on the play, which is I want to be able to cast something, preferably with poison, and attack my opponent, which we did somewhat draw into. Yeah, we don't mind the hover mirror at all. So, drawing the Contagious Nim is nice. We really want Forest. Kind of turns everything on except the Betrayers. It doesn't feel great to do this, but I think that I do. You know, I'm trying to play towards a winning strategy. Trying to follow a plan to win, not assuming the worst. If we assume that our opponent has the hand we're afraid he has, which is where he just keeps dropping quality creature after quality creature, there's not a great chance that we win that game anyway. So we'll see. I think we give our opponent the option here if he really wants to turn his guy into a 1/1. That's fine. We'll just play our White Widow and be happy. Could be facing down a Alpha Tyrannax here soon. Right, sorry, that's what I meant, the Thundering Pteranodon. And that is what it is. So this is not a bad draw for us. I think that if he attacks with the Pteranodon here, we just take it. It depends on what else he does. That's not great. Unfortunately, all of his creatures are artifacts. I'm definitely not trading the Blight Widow for the, I'm definitely not throwing the Blight Widow in front of the Pteranodon. The Eco Rats I would certainly consider. So this is pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Um, he can make infect guys. We're not losing that race very quickly. And I don't think I mind just taking 5 here. I think I like putting the bladed pinions on something like this guy and casting Death Head Cobra. Play a little defensively here. Okay. Huh. So I'd like to get in there for the poison and present lethal next turn. He's got a lot of infect, so he's not representing that much damage. The Tangleworm I can chump block. I mean, I think I just want to do this. If I attack with this, I can still block the Peace Strider if I want to, but I have less blocks. So we gotta do some math. Our opponent's hand is empty. He can make another artifact creature infect damage, assuming he doesn't draw something that grants infect. He's presenting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infect damage, not enough to kill us. We're presenting lethal next turn with mutagenic growth, and we have 2 infect guys plus the bladed pinions to get it through. Looking pretty good. We're at 13 life otherwise, so non-infect. Our opponent is presenting 10 damage, including the trample. I can put the bladed pinions on something to discourage the attack a little bit. And I think it's either that or I leave up Death Touch. And I think putting the bladed pinions on this is going to do a little more to discourage the attack. Because it can just block the Bellowing Tangleworm though. So our opponent has to draw something this turn. Basically he needs a blocker with reach or flying. Otherwise we get in for our 3 infect and we win. Getting stuck on the lands that we did was kind of bad. Like we took a pretty aggressive game plan, not developing our board further, but our opponent being split between infect and regular damage is really hurting him here. If he had a little more infect or a little more normal damage, we'd be under a lot more pressure. Our opponent does not attack, so giving us the green light. I can't cast another green creature. Alright, so no answer. Alright, well, we got the 2 wins out of it at least, and got our Scars of Mirrodin New Phyrexia pack, which is probably enough to tempt me into another draft, so if I am able to, I'll record that one. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.